Hola clase, today we're going to talk about Gar Zar verbs in the preterite. You might remember learning about Gar Zar verbs before. Really, they're easy. They end in gar, and zar, so that's how you know what they are. So we're talking today about the preterite tense, okay? In Spanish, we use the preterite tense for completed actions. Ayer yo comí las bananas. Your key word there is ayer, that tells us yesterday. It's a completed action. A specific period or number of times. Ellos fueron a Costa Rica 2 veces. They went to Costa Rica 2 times. Okay? The beginning or end of an action. La guerra terminó. The war ended. Or an interrupting action. Yo dormía cuando ella gritó. I was sleeping when she screamed. Okay? So today we're working with the preterite tense. So set the stuff we know about imperfect aside right now. We're just looking at the preterite. So these are some examples of Gar Zar verbs that are going to change in the preterite. You can see that the reason they're called Gar Zar is because that's what they end with. So our car verbs are buscar, pescar, sacar, tocar. There are more of them. These are just some examples. Okay. Our gar verbs are pagar, llegar, and jugar. And our zar verbs are almorzar and comenzar. Okay? In the preterite, they have some spelling change. These are not real difficult. You'll be able to get them down. Okay? We'll start with the car verbs. To keep the pronunciation of the car verbs consistent, we have a change in just the yo form. So the C in the car verbs turns into a QU in the yo form only. So instead of writing it with a C, we're going to write it with a QU. Okay, so if I want to say I looked for, okay, the C becomes a QU in yo busqué. The same thing with tocar and sacar. It turns into yo toqué, yo saqué. That's to keep the pronunciation really consistent throughout the whole verb chart for that verb. Okay? So in car, the C changes to QU just in the yo form. Okay? All the other forms stay totally regular. Here's our gar verbs. To preserve pronunciation of gar verbs, the G turns into a GU. Okay? So it's pagué, jugué, llegué. There's an accent on the E. The endings are still the same. The only thing that we're changing is in the yo form, the G turns to GU. And last but not least, we have our zar verbs. To preserve pronunciation in zar, we change to a C. The Z just changes to a C. So yo empecé, yo almorcé, yo comencé. And guys, since these are yo forms, we don't even have to think about stem changers because we know that in the preterite, the only time we can stem change is in the he, she, they, and usted and ustedes form. So really, the only thing we have to remember are these 3 changes. We just have to remember that in car verbs, it goes to QU in the yo. In gar verbs, it goes to GU in the yo. And then in zar verbs, it goes to C in the yo. Okay, so we're going to do some practice. So go ahead and pause the video and get started on this. Try to do it yourself, and I'll give you the answers in just a second. Okay, so hopefully you got something similar to these answers. I began to tell the legend is going to be empezar a contar la leyenda. I paid the bill, pagué la cuenta. I arrived at 5 o'clock in the morning, llegué a las 5 de la mañana. Okay, these all have a stem change in them, or not a stem change, a Gar Zar change in them in the preterite. You can see that empecé, the Z turns to a C, pagar changes to a GU, and llegar changes to a GU. Okay? In conclusion, Gar Zar verbs change in the yo preterite to keep pronunciation consistent. Please do not change them in any other form. They still use the regular preterite AR endings. There's nothing different there, and they only change in the yo. Okay? That's everything I have for you today. Please, please, please bring your notes to class tomorrow and be ready to take a quiz over Gar Zars. You will not see anything that's new on the quiz tomorrow, but you will not be able to use your notes. Have a great night. Adios.